Hi there meteorites, just a quick heads up before we begin. This is quite a mammoth video, it runs over 20 minutes. I will be putting some timestamps in the video description, so if you're only interested in my conclusions and you want to skip the rest, you can use the timestamps in the video description. In this video we will be covering my trip to Granada. I will show you some impressions of Granada and I will tell you how I think the Meteor coped on what was a very long motorway ride. Enjoy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening internet, and you join me today on my much vaunted, promoted trip to Granada. Not the TV rental shop, that's a reference that only UK viewers of a certain age will get. No, we're actually going to Granada, the city in southern Spain today. This is the video where I want to test the motorway capabilities of the Meteor 350. Today's ride will be 170 kilometers each way, and about 140 of that is going to be motorway. So we're looking at about 3 hours of motorway riding today. So I think that will be enough to develop an opinion. So I'm quite looking forward to finding out how the Meteor performs today. When we are in Granada, I will try to visit the Royal Enfield dealer there because I've not been to that particular dealership before, and obviously because footage of me riding on the motorway is not exactly riveting, to pad the video out a bit, I'll try to record some footage of the city of Granada when we get there. So it'll be a little bit of a travel vlog as well, hopefully, barring any technological failures, which, as fans of the channel will know, they do tend to happen quite a lot, so we shall see. But anyway, today we're heading off to Granada, and I'll show you some footage of the journey and hopefully of Granada itself. And then at the end of the day, when I'm on the homeward stretch, I'll report back and give you my verdict on the motorway capabilities of the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. Bye for now.
So here's some footage of me on the road to Granada, and this was where the Meteor really surprised me. There's some pretty big hills on this motorway coming into Granada. You have to climb these mountains, and I was very surprised to see that the Meteor 350 was able to climb up them at 90 kilometers per hour in 5th gear, no problem at all. Initially I was expecting to be down into 4th gear to maintain 90 kilometers per hour, but that really wasn't necessary. We did the whole motorway in 5th gear. In fact, at one point I accelerated a little bit going up the hill just to try and maintain the 90 kilometers per hour. And the Meteor began accelerating towards 100 kilometers per hour, so it still had more to give. So I was really impressed with how well the Meteor hung on, and yeah, we did everything in 5th gear, which really genuinely did surprise me. Before I left for this ride, I was slightly concerned that the Meteor might not be able to hang on to my chosen speed when the terrain gets a bit more demanding. That would have put question marks in my mind about whether or not I should venture onto the motorway with the Meteor. But it was quite clear early on that the Meteor could hold 90 kilometers per hour without any problems during some pretty steep climbs, and it still had a bit to give. So that really reassured me that, you know what, this bike can do any motorway and you're not going to be a major mobile chicane or hazard to other road users. I think being able to maintain a constant speed is pretty much a prerequisite on the motorway. Otherwise you can annoy other road users if your speed tends to fluctuate too much, but that shouldn't be a problem with the Meteor at all. It's more than capable of holding a constant speed in all kinds of terrain. And as far as I'm aware, I didn't annoy any other road users during this trip. So here we are, cruising along on the way to Granada, looking forward to the delights that await us there. So Granada, what is it famous for? Alhambra, I hear you say? Oh yes, but it also has a Royal Enfield dealership. And so here are some pictures I took there. They seem to have all of the Royal Enfield models, the current ones. They also have a classic Bullet Trial. They even had all three variants of the Meteor 350, the Stella, the Supernova, and of course the Fireball. So after visiting the Royal Enfield dealer, I proceeded to try and navigate my way to the designated motorcycle parking, which I'd set as a target for my Google navigation. I think Google got a bit confused. It was all a bit bizarre. I ended up going a really convoluted way. I think I almost reached my destination, and then suddenly I got a message saying better route available, road closed. So then I ended up going back the way I came, leaving the city, getting back on the motorway and entering the city from the other end. So yeah, the navigation was a bit complicated, but we did get there in the end.
So here we are, we finally made it to Granada. Before I left home I did search on Google for parking for motorcycles. And this is actually an official parking spot for motorcycles, which is always convenient. It stops your bike getting knocked over by someone trying to put a car into a tight space. Yeah, I'm just about within the designated area for parking motorcycles, so hopefully we won't get clamped or towed. Anyway, we've arrived in Granada. Now let's go for a little walk about. And our destination is down there somewhere. So here we are, currently just beneath the Alhambra Palace. As you can see it up there. And this is called the Paseo de los Tristes, which translates to the Walk of the Sad. I don't think you need to be particularly sad to walk here. I actually think it's quite pleasant. And down there's the river, and up there is Alhambra. So here we are in sunny Granada. I have my winter jacket on because it was cold this morning when I left, and I'm already regretting it because it's very warm here at the moment. Sunny Granada. This is a slightly better view of the entire Alhambra complex, or at least the part you can see from down here. It's pretty big actually. I've been in there before, but once was enough. But obviously if you're in Granada, it's worth getting a ticket to go and visit the Alhambra Palace. So after a sweaty yomp through Granada, it's time for some tapas. Alcohol-free beer, I'll have you know, and Tapas al pobre, which is basically potatoes with stuff with a fried egg on top and a piece of bread. Granada tapas.
So here's a street with some old buildings and some shops in it. Here's another street with some more old buildings and a towery thing. Here's a big old churchy thing. It looks pretty old, and it might be a cathedral or something. I think it probably is a cathedral. Right next to the cathedral thingy there are these narrow alleys with more shops. It's got a bit of an Arabian vibe going on. Here's a little bit of video so you can see the sort of tat you can buy there. You can probably buy like a nodding Alhambra for your parcel shelf of your car. All that stuff that you tend to bring home from holidays abroad. By this time I was overheating badly, I was totally dehydrated and I was ready to head home. Well, here we are again. After a nice yomp around Granada, I managed to find where the bike was parked. It was still there, still in one piece. So that was all good. So now I'm going to gear up and get ready to navigate my way home. And when I'm nearer home, I'll give you a final summary on my thoughts regarding the Royal Enfield Meteor 350 and its use on motorways or high-speed roads. On the way out of here, I might try and pass Alhambra if the navigation allows me to do so. We shall see. So stay tuned, I'll be back in a bit. Well, it goes without saying I was totally impressed by that. So here I am heading home via Alhambra. So we're just making our way up the hill, and in a moment you should be able to just about make out through the trees and my bad camera work a little bit of the buildings of the Alhambra complex. And here it is on the left, Alhambra. There it is. Well, following my excellent tourist guide to Granada, I thought I'd continue my services to Spanish tourism by summarising my experiences today with this scenic backdrop. So, can you use the Meteor on the motorway? Well, following my experience today, I would say for me personally, categorically, yes you can. I've been very positively surprised by how the Meteor has performed today, and it's been well beyond my expectations. In a moment I'll be handing you back to the handsome chap in the studio, and he will go into a bit more detail about why, in our opinion, the Meteor 350 is motorway capable. So if we can just let this backdrop do its thing, just take that in for a moment. Wonderful. Good Meteor, good Meteor. You're such a good Meteor. So here we are back on the motorway, heading home, and I'd just like to say that actually I do really enjoy Granada, just not so much this time because it was incredibly hot. I had my winter jacket on because when I left in the morning it was very cold. So basically I was walking around in 28 degrees heat, having to wear a heavy motorcycle jacket because I had my helmet in one hand. I had a backpack on and I had one hand free which I was trying to film with. So yeah, it wasn't really too enjoyable, and I did cover a few kilometres walking around the city in the blazing sunshine. But anyway, yeah, Granada is a really nice place to visit. A little heads up, if you want to visit Alhambra Palace, you can't just turn up at the gate and pay. Well, at least you didn't used to be able to, I'm not sure actually, maybe Google it. Okay, I just Googled it for you. Yes, it's still recommended to purchase tickets online because you can possibly purchase tickets at the gate, but you have to hope that the tickets are not sold out, and I think they tend to be sold out. So if you're only going to be in Granada for the day, it's definitely recommended to purchase your tickets online and in advance. So now the bit most of you have probably been waiting nearly 15 minutes to hear, my conclusions about the motorway suitability of the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. For me personally, the Meteor is absolutely motorway capable. Whether you personally feel that the Meteor is motorway capable will probably depend upon two fairly subjective factors. The first subjective factor is how fast do you personally feel you have to ride on a motorway to feel safe doing so. And I think this will depend a lot upon the country you are riding in, maybe even the type of motorway or a particular motorway, and basically the behaviour of other road users on the stretch that you are going to be riding. During this trip to Granada, I settled on a cruising speed of 90 kilometers per hour. I did try various other speeds, 100 kilometers per hour, 95 kilometers per hour, and briefly 110 kilometers per hour. I settled on 90 kilometers per hour because I felt that at that speed the engine was still in the purring zone. It's nice to ride a bike that's just purring along. It's quite relaxing on a long straight stretch of road with constant revs when the engine purrs. I found from 95 to 100 kilometers per hour you start to get into the more buzzy zone and it's not quite as relaxing to ride. So I just felt the bike felt relaxed and comfortable at 90 kilometers per hour. It would probably be relaxed and comfortable enough at 100 kilometers per hour, but for me personally, I just felt it sounded nicer. It gave me a better feeling at 90 kilometers per hour. So this is actually the second subjective factor, is your own personal mechanical sympathy, how hard you're happy to push a bike, whether you're very susceptible to vibrations or whether you're happy to take vibrations into account. So again, that's a variable that's going to be different for everybody. So those are the two variables. How fast do you feel you have to go to be safe on the motorway? And how much mechanical sympathy with the motorcycle do you have? How hard are you prepared to push it? For me, I'm happy doing 90 kilometers per hour and the bike feels totally happy at that. So for me, it's motorway capable. If I have to use a motorway, I know I can do it and I'll travel at 90 kilometers per hour. But obviously, in general, I try to avoid the motorway. And that's not a specific thing to owning a Meteor. That would be the same with any bike I own. I just find riding a motorcycle on the motorway very tedious. So it's always best to try and plan a route using the secondary roads. You get to see a lot more of the place you're in, and it's a lot more enjoyable and more entertaining riding. So to summarise my conclusion, for me personally, the Meteor is motorway capable. It might not be motorway capable for some other people. It really is just a matter of how fast you feel you need to be riding to consider a motorcycle motorway capable. I'm easily pleased. I've always been quite happy to ride on the motorway at 90 kilometers per hour, which is about 55 miles per hour, I believe. I used to own a 4x4 and I used to drive that everywhere on the motorway at 90 kilometers per hour, for the simple reason that if you took it up to 100 kilometers per hour, it had about 30% more fuel consumption. So for the sake of 10 kilometers per hour, I didn't see the point of burning so much more fuel. So 90 kilometers per hour for me is an acceptable speed, but obviously people's opinions on that will vary, and that will determine whether or not they can live with the Meteor on the motorway or motorway type roads. So I hope you find this conclusion useful. It was quite a decent motorway ride, this one. In total on the day I did just over 360 kilometers, and a large part of that was on the motorway. I can also add that the fuel consumption was a fair bit higher than I'm used to. So even at 90 kilometers per hour, I'm using a fair bit more fuel, and probably my normal riding tends to be in the range of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. But I was still on target to do 400 kilometers with that tank full. So again, my statement that in almost any condition you should be able to do 400 kilometers on a tank full, I stand by that. Unless you were doing 120 k's all the way, then I think you'd struggle. But with this tank full, I would have managed 400 kilometers, no problem at all. And of course I did the whole trip, Granada and back, without filling up, which is something I've never done on a motorcycle before. So that was a real good performance by the Meteor once again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I've given you my opinion on the motorway capability of the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. I've also given you some impressions of Granada. I didn't take as much footage of Granada as I would have liked, but that was basically just down to the fact that I was suffering with the heat. I picked a very hot day to go there and the wrong type of motorcycle clothing, unfortunately. So yes, the footage we have is what we have, and yeah, maybe I'll go back another time and do a bit more of an in-depth travel vlog. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. That helps me to get promoted by the YouTube algorithm. If you're interested in Meteor 350 and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would urge you to subscribe to the channel. It won't cost you anything, and there's plenty of previous Meteor 350 content there, and there's regular updates as well. Thanks as always for your continued support for my videos on my channel. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions about this video or about my ownership of the Meteor 350 in general, please feel free to post them in the comments section, and I will almost certainly be able to reply to you. Thanks again for sharing my trip to Granada with me. I hope my conclusions help you to decide whether the Meteor is a bike for you or not, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Bye bye.